I think what makes life exciting, right, is that we don't know what's going to happen.
Good morning.
Hey, David.
Thank you for those questions. And that it's almost, I almost feel like just being here is already sort of answering this question, but anyway, we won't go there right now. But here's what came to me this morning, and it's a little bit broad, There's an oxymoron. The question is really something I've contemplated for years. How can we authentically trust the flow of our creation at the same time using effort and will, but without forcing things? And so I sort of synthesize this into sort of allowing rather than avoiding.
Mm-hmm.
And without going into my story too much and honoring, the stories that we just heard.
Well, I kind of want to go into your story, David.
Okay, I can do that.
Well,
don't get me
here's
started.
here's what I mean, just to give some structure and boundaries to that. It sounds to me like you're in a bit of a self-made bind here with some beliefs that are conflicting into your head, inside of your head, right? I picked up on the word authentically trust in the flow of creation. Like what's with the use of the word authentically, Larry? Like, is there an inauthentic way to trust in the process of the flow of creation?
Okay, so full disclosure, I stole the first part of that question from my morning reading. But what it's about is this sort of, I would guess I'd have to call it sort of an old paradigm where we set a goal. We've been pushed to set these big goals. I'm going to be a public speaker. I'm going to make $10,000 a month, or whatever. And then we sort of strive to hit them. And in my case, it's just like, that doesn't work for me. So I fail miserably.
So what are your
goals? Pick myself up and continue. And part of it is in the not knowing, being stuck. Like sort of in the not knowing, or not only the not knowing, but there's so many possibilities. And so that's why the first questioner was such a good question for me too. There's so many possibilities that you don't want to choose one and just do it because of the loss that's felt of all the rest of you somehow. Does that make sense?
A little bit. so let me try to speak to this and see if we get somewhere. So I think what makes life exciting, right, is that we don't know what's going to happen, right? If we knew like, oh, here my, like, we're human beings, we desire things, right? We want things. That's the nature of the beast, right? But we don't know if we're going to get it. And that's what makes it exciting, right? When you are watching a football game or whatever your sport is, or whatever, but you get the analogy, right? And you already know the score, that kind of takes the excitement out of it, right? There's I forget what it is, but Joseph Campbell talks about in that famous, Power of Myth thing, that like 6-hour thing that he did on PBS years ago. If you haven't seen that, it's worth watching. I've been through it a couple times. But one of the stories he talks about is this ancient Indian culture where, Hinduism, and I forget, I'm going to mess up all the names. I'm not even going to try, but like essentially like all of life is this, happens in this God's dreams. And the essence of the story that I want to tell is like, if you got to choose your own life and make it anything you wanted, life would just turn out exactly the way you wanted, right? Then at first you would be like, banging all the cute chicks and eating all the delicious foods and travel and see all these things, and everything would just be smooth sailing, right? You do that a couple lifetimes and then you get bored with that. And then you would slowly introduce challenge and failures and setbacks and like one thing after the other, because it gets boring without it. And eventually you would end up with exactly the life that you're living today, right? So like the challenge is the fun part. And so like, yes, we want something, and then we want to like what the forcing, right? Like whenever I can feel that tension in my body where I'm forcing, I'm stressing, I'm living out in the future. But it's stopped being fun. It's stopped being, I'm I'm enjoying what I'm doing right now. And if it never leads to anything, that's okay. Like whenever I get out of that mode, I need to change, right? There's something that I need to let go of in my mind. There is some belief, some emotional piece or something. I just need to reset and be like, what am I excited about? What would be fun to do here? Like, what would I enjoy doing? Or can I find a way to make it fun and enjoyable to do the thing that I know I need to do, right? Eat healthy and like exercise and all those things, right? Does this get at what you're trying to ask at all?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it does, and it's also sort of a confirmation. Like I'm sort of like a person that needs to be told over and over again what I really already know, and just also just where I'm at right now is feeling some strange stuff in my solar plexus, and I'm always aware of that because I've been through. Part of my story is like, diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in the year 2001, going through major surgery, going through this healing, becoming attuned to sort of this healing energy. And so I really wanted to be on because I know that you're about sort of integrating business and spirituality. And that's been my sort of inner conflict or inner game,
Mm-hmm.
or sometimes an inner flow. And, attempted a business 10 years ago and kind of crashed and burned financially, then got a teaching certificate, came out of that, and just, resigned that. And now I'm like, got on Simplero this summer, and like, I knew I wasn't ready to make a course, but I had to take the course creation challenge. That was where I was at then. Took a
Nice.
whole bunch of courses, went through another sort of, well, I'll say smoky because we had all those fires, smoky period in the fall. And so I feel like there is a joy bubbling up.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that I need to live in the uncertainty because it's just
Mm-hmm.
sort of who I am. I'm a serial career changer, right? And
Something you
so,
might
yeah,
want
I
to
would.
play with is the feminine and the masculine energies, right? So the feminine is the piece that is like very attuned, like I'm feeling this stuff and I'm in this process and trusting the flow and like all of that, right? And the masculine is much more, here's where I'm going and here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do, and you just get there, right? That's something that I've worked a lot with and been very conscious of, and I think we tend to get stuck in on one side, right? And then like just live there. And then when that's not working, we do more of that instead of switching into the opposite side. What we want to be doing is we want to be freely choosing, I'm going to go in my masculine, I'm going to go in my feminine, right? You can tell just like the way I spoke with Kissa, I went way more into my feminine because there's a need for a healing energy there. Right now, just the tone of my voice, you can tell I'm way more in my masculine, right? So we want to be able to choose. I would challenge you to like really embrace your masculine. So that would be like strength, focus, structure, discipline. Forget the fun. Honestly, forget the piece about it having to be fun for a minute, because you have to challenge yourself out of that place to really like drive some fucking results, like, and get the body involved. And then the fun will come again, right? Like when I got into my body 3 years ago, it was 8 hours a week of working out and I hated it for 2 months, right? But I'd promised myself I would do it and I would find a way to make it enjoyable as much as I could, but I still kind of hated it for 2 months. And then it got fun, right? Then I've been enjoying it since. So that's what I'm seeing, something like that. And you like let's get that masculine energy activated here.
Yeah, I just got to honor you and let somebody else come on for a question, because here's the thing. My quote unquote business, which was really more of a hobby, was trying to address my sort of what I called spiritual embarrassment. And so I would choose animals. There's a story behind this too, and a book started and everything else, but I would choose an animal to speak for Divine Mother and Heavenly Father. And that was my journal, Animal Balance Journal. Other part that really so fits. I mean, kudos to your intuition. is I joined a men's group last summer, and I've been involved with it, and it's been a challenge for me because I'm sort of like in all these sort of, spiritual stuff. There's 90% women, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is a chance for men to really bond, and I'm really getting into it. And I'm actually going to be one of the facilitators this year, because I just really believe in it. It brought me back to sort of some men's retreats we did with my meditation circle and so on. So I just wanted to say right on.
Appreciate it. Thank you,
Thank
man.
you.
And I don't know anything about you and your relationship with your dad, or if he's still alive or anything, but that's a good place to start, like healing that relationship.
Oh yeah, highly intellectual guy, very different from me, but a very big heart, still alive.
Good.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, David, brother.
Awesome, David.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
What up, YouTube? Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, even if you freaking didn't, hit the subscribe button so you get more videos from me, and also hit the bell button so you get tick, 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 notified whenever there is a new video from me. Thank you very much. I'll catch you next time.